Ahead of the Sky Bet Championship playoff semi-finals, I'm delighted to now be joined by a man who knows all about Brentford. It's their former player and captain and current Sky Sports pundit, Chris Kamara. Cammy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It is a long time since I played for Brentford. I think I left in 1985, before you were born, I think.
Well before I was born, in fact. Cammy, how good is it to see your old club in the playoffs?
I'm delighted, as I am for all my old clubs. You always look at their results, but Brentford holds a special place in my heart. I was the first black player to play for Swindon, and after Swindon I played for Brentford, and in between that Portsmouth as well. Incidentally, the second black player to play for them. And I became the first black player to play for Brentford. So it's a bit of trailblazing, a bit of history that will always be there.
What a fantastic season they've had as well. It probably says a lot, doesn't it? They're actually disappointed not to go up automatically behind Leeds.
I think when you win 7 on the bounce and you look favourites and everybody changes their perspective that West Brom and Leeds can be caught, and you keep winning and you're there, you're nagging away at them, then all of a sudden to have those 2 defeats right at the end, that'll be a killer blow for Thomas Frank.
With that said, how would you rate their chances now of going on and going all the way, picking themselves up and getting that promotion that they were so close to?
Well, it's a hard one to call. It really is. You normally go into the playoffs off the back of a fantastic result. People didn't expect you to get there, and all of a sudden you're in there, you're in amongst it all, and the confidence is high. With Brentford, it's the opposite. So at this moment in time, they had 2 opportunities to get themselves into the Premier League, and they lost both of those games. The second one will remain in the memory, the Barnsley game, because West Bromwich Albion could only draw their game. And so when they're playing that game and they realise they're playing a team from the bottom, that goes through your head a million times. If I was an advisor to Thomas Frank at this moment in time, I would be saying, get a sports psychologist in now, immediately. Let's get these players focused, confidence. Let them forget about what's gone on, because that is the most important thing at this moment in time, is to forget those last 2 results and concentrate on the 3-game playoffs.
Now, what you said there about coming into the playoffs full of confidence and unexpectedly, that sums up Swansea, doesn't it? Their opponents.
Oh,
I know you were at Forest and Stoke, and to pip Forest 6 like they did, they must be full of confidence.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, when I was designated the Forest game, the producer said to me, "Oh, there's still something on it." And I said, "No, not really. You cannot see Forest losing by 4 goals." And he went, stranger things in football. I said, "Yeah, but I've seen Forest of late. You know, they're not a side to ship goals like that." But once again, it's nerves. Confidence, you know, all of a sudden you can sort of like sniff the Premier League in the background, and all of a sudden your nerves start to jangle, and things you did before, the positive football that you played, you no longer play. So that's what happened to them. And I was there to see it visibly on the night, and it was really strange. You know, their confidence was just nowhere to be seen. Players were doing things that they would never have done throughout the season. So, yeah, they blew it. But Swansea's advantage now, and the jubilation and celebrations that they had at Reading were just incredible. So they go into the playoffs on a massive, massive high. But the thing is, the playoffs are the playoffs. You know, you cannot guarantee anything. All I know is, from my experience, we did what Swansea did. When I was manager of Bradford City, we got into the playoffs on the final day of the season, where we got a great result. And from then on, we felt confident that we would get promoted.
And with that said, Cammy, what would it mean to you if Brentford can overcome Swansea and go up And it's their last season at Griffin Park as well, of course, isn't it? It would be a fitting tribute.
Yeah, it would mean a lot to me, certainly in terms of my job, because I would spend a lot of time at Brentford next season and doing goals on Sunday. It's a stone's throw from the studio. So yeah, that would be great. I spend a lot of time at Brentford in the Championship, but to go to Brentford in the Premier League would be a different proposition. It would be fantastic for them.
You mentioned it, Cammy, your time as a player, captain, and the fact that you were the club's first ever black player in the Football League. What does that mean to you? I know you tweeted about it recently with their time at Griffin Park coming to an end, looking back at your memories, but what does that mean to you?
Well, Brentford was different. It was really different. I obviously started off at Portsmouth, one or two problems at Swindon. And then when I went to Brentford Football Club, I can honestly say, from the home fans, even when things didn't go right for me or I had a poor game, there was no racist calling. So that in itself speaks volumes for the football club. So that was a nice thing to happen. So, that meant a lot to me back then because it was, it was rife. It was rife, basically. Well, it's still going on today, as we know, with the Black Lives Matter protests at this moment in time. So it'll never ever go away. But there's certain periods where it never actually came out, and that 3 seasons I spent at Brentford was that.
Great memories then of your time at Brentford. You obviously made it to Wembley in a final with Brentford. I won't make you relive that day, but what's it like to reach a final and play at a stadium like that?
Yeah, well, I think Frank McClintock was our manager back in those days, and we made a mistake. We went to Greece for 5 days just before that final. And then when we actually played Wigan, take nothing away from them because they had good players as well. It was like 90 degrees at Wembley that day. It was so hot and we never really got going. Wigan played really well. So disappointment of losing a final there wasn't great because it was a massive final, but it's still a final and you're still letting down your supporters who go there for a lovely day out and want you to win. But this will be different. This will be totally different. Football at this moment in time is totally, totally different because there's no fans in the place. The fans that maybe could have carried Brentford over the line in that final game against Barnsley, which is maybe what they needed. I talked about psychologists. You might not have needed a psychologist. You might not just have needed the home supporters to give them that massive lift that would push them through. So yeah, that was a disappointment, not winning at Wembley for them, but it wasn't the greatest tournament in the world. But well done to Wigan for winning it.
And then finally, Cammy, the biggest question of all, if I had to press you, how do you think the game's going to go this first leg, and what would your score prediction be?
The beauty of football is you don't know. You never know. Like I said to you, Thomas Frank has been able to get into his players and say, forget what's gone on in the last 2 games. We had 2 wonderful opportunities. We didn't take them. We should have taken them. Now you've got to concentrate. It's 3 games and we could still get to the promised land. Let's get that form that we showed before those defeats, and they've got a chance. As far as Swansea concerned, Cooper must be absolutely dancing and singing and saying to his players, look, we've been given a lifeline, don't blow it. Whatever you do, don't blow it. This is an opportunity for you. Same as the other game, the Fulham and Cardiff game. Really and truly, if you look at the playoffs and look at the form of the team since lockdown, then you put Brentford favourites, then you put Fulham, then you put Cardiff, and then it's Swansea. But, your guess is as good as mine which one of those is going to make it to the Prem.
That's the beauty of the Championship, isn't it, really?
Yeah, the Championship is the hardest league in the world. it's a fitting tribute that there's so much money on it for the team that actually gets to win the playoffs, because it is a wonderful, wonderful thing to have, to be able to say, we fought through the hardest league in the world to get to the Premier League. I'm not saying the Premier League's not hard, but as you've seen, if you go about it well and you get your business right, then there's every chance of staying in the Premier League once you're there. But getting out of the Championship, that's not easy.
All that's left to say, Cammy, is we're set up for a brilliant semi-final, aren't we? So enjoy the game. Thank you for your time, and we'll see what happens on Sunday.